Yo, stop scrolling right now. Did you know the Golden Gate Bridge was literally designed with a terrifying assumption? I am dead serious. The engineers looked at the deep ocean, the screaming winds, and the violent earthquakes and said, we are going to build something that assumes disaster is happening 24/7. They accepted that failure was inevitable, and that crazy decision is the only reason it hasn't collapsed into the ocean yet. This is the Golden Gate Bridge. It is the main character of bridges. You have seen it on your feed, in movies, everywhere.
But the pictures are lying to you. What you see looks solid, right? Wrong. The real engineering magic is totally invisible, and honestly, it shouldn't even work. The story you don't know is hidden in motion, in flexibility, and in a series of choices that made engineers in the 1930s think the designers had lost their minds. Let's talk about the location, because the Golden Gate Strait is basically a nightmare level in a video game. You have got currents that will drag you under, water that freezes your soul, and winds screaming at over 70 miles per hour.
Oh, and did I mention it is sitting right next to the San Andreas Fault? In the 30s, experts were screaming that building here was impossible. They said it was a suicide mission.
But the construction crew was like, bet, and they started anyway. Here is the first mind-blowing secret. You think a strong bridge needs to be stiff, like a rock, right? Absolute nonsense. If this bridge was rigid, it would have snapped in half decades ago. The roadway? It is designed to swing sideways. I'm talking 27 feet of movement. Imagine standing on concrete that swings 27 feet to the left and right during a storm. That looks terrifying, but it is actually a survival cheat code. A rigid bridge snaps. A flexible one absorbs the energy. It doesn't fight the storm, it vibes with it. If your brain is already hurting from how cool this is, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because we are just getting started. It gets way stranger. Look at those cables. They look like giant solid steel ropes, right? It is an illusion. Those cables are actually made of over 27,000 tiny individual wires.
They didn't make these in a factory. They spun them right there on the bridge, suspended in mid-air, battling the cold and wind. It is redundancy on steroids. If one wire snaps, who cares? The load just instantly spreads to the other 26,999 wires. This is fail-safe engineering before computers even existed. It is literally a glitch in the matrix of physics. Okay, this part is wild. The engineers actually made the bridge lighter on purpose. Critics were losing their minds, saying it was too flimsy. But the engineers knew basic physics.
Less mass means less inertia. When an earthquake hits, heavy things break because they fight the shake. This bridge is light enough to just flow with the earthquake. It was a massive gamble, but time proved they were geniuses. But then, nature tried to cancel the bridge. In 1951, a massive storm hit. The bridge started twisting. I mean, literally rippling like a ribbon in the wind. Everyone was panicking, thinking it was game over. The engineers looked at the data and made a boss move. They didn't stiffen it. They fixed the airflow.
They basically gave the bridge vents so the wind could pass through it instead of pushing it over. They turned the enemy into a ghost. Drop a comment if you would have run for your life if you saw a bridge twisting like that. I know I would have. Now let's talk about the enemy you can't see, the fog. It looks aesthetic for your photos, but it is actually pure poison. The salt air is trying to eat the steel every single second. Corrosion is the final boss. So how do they beat it? By never finishing the job. Painting the Golden Gate Bridge is an infinite loop. By the time the crew finishes painting to one end, the start is already rusting again. It is a forever battle that never sleeps. We have had major earthquakes hit this area. The sensors went crazy. The ground was shaking violently. And the bridge? It barely broke a sweat. It absorbed the shockwaves. It didn't try to be an immovable object. It surrendered to the motion without breaking. It is basically doing judo on the earthquake. And that is the secret sauce. The philosophy here is insane. The designers knew they couldn't control nature, so they stopped trying. They built something that bends, shifts, and adapts. It expects the stress. It welcomes the chaos. So the Golden Gate Bridge isn't standing because it is unbreakable. It is standing because it is allowed to almost break over and over again without ever crossing the line. Every sway, every vibration, every layer of paint is a fight for survival. Next time you drive across it, remember this. You aren't on a solid road. You are on a living machine that is dancing with the wind, the fog, and the earth itself. Hit that follow button for more engineering secrets behind the things we take for granted.
Peace.